friends. It is Monday. It is Bermuda Heroes Day, and it's a beautiful day on the island of Bermuda. And so it's a great day to go to the beach and spend time with family, which is what I intend to do later. But I'm going to start off the day by reading a story by someone who I admire and who I think of as a Bermuda hero, and that is Mrs. Florenz Webbe-Maxwell. When I was a little girl, she used to go around to all of the schools in Bermuda, and she used to tell Bermuda folktales. And she collected them into a book which she named Spirit Baby. And it's a book that I recommend for everybody to have because it's a part of Bermuda culture. So today I'm going to read one of her stories, The Legend of the Secret Place. And unfortunately, there's only one picture, so you're going to have to use your imagination. But I really do like this story. Here's the picture. Do you see what's going on? I'm not telling you what's going to go on, but maybe that will let you know what's going to happen in the story. So let's get started. There was a boy named Jack who lived in Somerset with his widowed mother. He was so spoiled that the people in the parish disliked him with a passion. And they had reason to, because his pranks were more dangerous than mischievous. For instance, he found great pleasure in letting loose saucy dogs so that they would chase children who were on their way home from school. He even took the children's lunches and threatened to beat them up if they told on him. Even if complaints were made to Jack's mother, she always had an excuse and demanded proof, which no one was able to produce because of the clandestine way in which Jack worked. One day, Jack pulled a prank that went too far. In the middle of the night, he crept up to each house in the neighborhood, opened the chicken coops, and shooed out the birds. He then untied all of the dogs nearby and turned them loose on the chickens. Jack's mother, who had just returned from her night job where she worked as a waitress, heard the commotion and was in time to see Jack climbing back into the house through his bedroom window. She knew there was no way she could protect him from the wrath that would follow his offense. She had no choice but to get him out of Somerset. She quickly went into his bedroom and shook him up from under his covers where he pretended to be asleep. Ignoring his protestations, she made him dress hurriedly, and together they left the house and the neighborhood. They walked for quite a distance in silence until his mother stopped a man with a horse and cart traveling in their direction. "Where are you going this hour of the night, Mistress Flowers?" The driver knew Jack's mother because everybody in Bermuda pretty well knew each other. "I'm going to that farm in Bailey's Bay, the one owned by the old farmer who takes in boys." The driver looked from Jack to his mother and then back to Jack again. "Hop in," he said with a knowing look. They pulled up at the farm in Bailey's Bay just as the sun popped over the horizon. The driver helped Jack's mother to the ground. "I'll wait to take you back to Somerset if you like," he said, looking around nervously. The farmer must have seen them coming, for he was standing at the fence when Jack and his mother approached the farm. "Just in time for chores," he said, opening the gate and looking straight at Jack. "There's lots of them to be done." This was his way of greeting the two of them. The truth was the old farmer knew exactly why they had come. Many a mother brought her son to him to be straightened out. Some of these sons ended up becoming good citizens. Others just disappeared. No one ever asked questions about the latter, for in those days the island was too small for troublemakers. It was for that reason Jack's mother had taken so long to bring her son to old Grandpa's farm. However, his last escapade had left her no choice. The bent-over man led them in front of the chicken coop. Jack suppressed a grin when he looked over at the feathery creatures. He was sorry he had missed the action back in Somerset when he led those chickens to their fate. These on the farm were big and plump and would have been excellent sport for those ferocious dogs. The old farmer ignored the smirk on Jack's face and went right into business. Every morning, these here chickens have to be fed and their eggs collected and brought into the house. Before Jack could comment or his mother make up an excuse that Jack did not do chores, the old farmer moved on to a shed with a cow tossing her horns. Every morning, this here cow has to be milked and the milk brought into the house. Jack turned up his nose at the cow's milk bags. And again, before he could comment or his mother protest that her son did not do chores, the old farmer moved to an open field where a bow-legged horse was chomping on fresh grass. This here horse has to be exercised every morning and then led back to this field for his meal. This time, Jack did comment. That horse has moongate legs, he said after a hearty laugh. I won't feed chickens, milk cows, or walk any old horse. No way was he going to do any of those chores, so he had to let the old farmer know right up front. Old Grandpa just ignored the comments and repeated, every morning you have to feed the chickens, milk the cow, and walk the horse. That's every morning. Those chores are a bit much, said Jack's mother, feeling brave now that her son had spoken. You leave this to me, said the old man, and the look he gave Jack's mother froze any more comments from either of them. And I think you best be going now, so that this son of yours gets started. Chores don't wait all morning. There was something in his tone that made Jack's mother back away, and before she knew what was happening, she walked off the farm and out of the gate to where the driver of the horse and cart was waiting. The old farmer did not wait to hear the clop, clop, clop of the disappearing horse before he turned back to Jack, the smirk still glued to the boy's face. Remember what I said. You have 3 chores every morning. The chickens have to be fed, the cow milked, and the horse exercised. Understand? Jack was about to protest again. For the first time, he noticed the strong, bulging muscles under the old man's shirt. They were bigger than any muscles he had seen on anyone. Yes, sir, he said, not knowing what had come over him. The old man seemed satisfied, then added in an ominous voice, when you have finished your chores, you can go for a swim. You can swim on the south side of this farm, but you are not to swim on the north side. Never. You hear what I said? Jack didn't quite understand what the firm command was all about, but for the first time in his life, he knew this old farmer meant every word he said. Furthermore, his mother was no longer around to protect him. So every morning he arose at the first of dawn and did his chores. He fed the chickens, milked the cow, walked the horse, and went swimming on the south side of the farm. Many times he was tempted to see what swimming was like on the north side, but he knew that the old man watched every move he made, so he took no chances. Months went by, and he continued to feed the chickens, milk the cow, and exercise the horse. After his chores, he also continued to swim on the south side of the farm, but the urge to explore the north side grew stronger and stronger. If only he could get just one peep, but he dared not disobey. A whole year finally went by. One day the old man said to Jack, I'm going into Hamilton to sell some of my onions. You can come along for the outing since you've worked so well with your chores, and you have minded my wishes by not swimming on the north side of the farm. I believe you have earned a reward for such good behavior." Now, Jack had not left the farm since his mother had brought him there, so the ride into town was very tempting. "Thank you, old Grandpa," he said instead, using his most convincing voice. "I would like to go, but I don't want to fall behind in my chores. Let me go some other time when I have caught up with my work." The old man's ego outweighed his common sense. All he could see on the surface was that the boy had performed his chores and obeyed his wishes. No other boy in his care had reformed so quickly and so well. A broad smile smoothed out the wrinkles in the old man's face. He patted Jack on the shoulder and said, "You are a good boy. Stay if you want to, but I still think you need a break from the farm." Jack helped the old man load the pile of onions on the cart and gave the horse a gentle pat on the rump. One thing he was proud of the animal no longer had legs as broad as a moongate. They were as straight and as sturdy as cedar trees. When the old man drove off the farm, Jack waited a while. No sense taking a chance and have old Grandpa return unexpectedly. A good half hour passed before the boy rushed into the barn and changed into an old pair of torn trousers he had saved for this very occasion. Then he went quickly down to the north side of the farm. The scenery before his eyes made him gasp. The blue ocean was so calm, it looked like glass. After admiring it for a while, he climbed up on a tall, majestic rock and then plunged into the refreshing waters. The more Jack thought about how the old man had confined him to the south side of the farm, where the sand on the beach stuck to every part of the body, the more determined he was to enjoy this new sight. When Jack became tired of diving, swimming, and floating, he began to explore the rocks. They seemed to grow deep into the ocean. His curiosity led him to explore a dark hole in one of them, and he swam inside. Water trickled from the roof, sounded like music, and the stalagmites and stalactites in front of him resembled pipes from a powerful organ. All around, fish were swimming and frolicking. Jack had never felt more at peace. He joined in with the fish and swam with them, each time feeling as if something magic had come in his presence. After a while, he realized that he was spending too much time in this paradise and he should be getting back to the farm. It would not do for old Grandpa to find out he had disobeyed. He had been on the farm long enough to know that boys who did not mind disappeared and no one cared what happened to them. He swam around for the last time with his fish friends and started towards the opening of the cave. To his surprise, he could not find it. He swam around in all directions, east, west, north, and south, but there was no opening. He was about to give up when he spied a beam of light in the distance and quickly swam in that direction. Then he heard it. Something was following him. Jack was too scared to look over his shoulders, but he could tell that whatever was following was quite near, for its hot breath was now on his neck. He swam faster, and the mysterious creature behind him also swam faster. To make matters worse, when he was near to the opening, the stalagmites and stalactites seemed to turn into big teeth, gnashing and snapping together, thus preventing him from getting to the other side. He was about to look over his shoulder to find out what was following him when a voice boomed from a stalagmite. "Swim to your right, but don't look back." Jack looked frantically to his right and saw there was an opening. He could have easy access out of the cave. Now remember, Jack was not in the habit of obeying and was about to turn his head and look over his shoulder. The voice boomed louder than before. "Swim to your right, but don't look back." Several large stalagmites opened like a pearly gate so that Jack could swim to safety. He became more curious about what was following him, particularly since he no longer could feel the hot breath on the back of his neck. As he was about to turn his head, a stalagmite bellowed, "Swim to your right, but don't look back." So terrifying was the voice that Jack obeyed instantly. He swam frantically to the right, and before long was out of the cave and into open water. But just in time, suddenly there was a mighty roar, then silence. A builder had sealed the entrance to the cave. Jack could never recall how he managed to reach the farm. All he remembered was rushing inside the shed, tearing off the wet trousers and burying them behind some bushes. Then he ran around the farm and completed every chore he could find. The farmer never found out that Jack had disobeyed. In fact, the boy was so improved that the old man believed it was his method of discipline that had changed Jack. Years went by and the old farmer died and Jack inherited the farm. He married and had a dozen children, all of whom were raised on the farm. He disciplined them with the same chores he had been given. They fed the chickens, milked the cows, and walked the horses. They were even warned never to swim on the north side of the farm. The children obeyed without question, and when they grew up and had children, they too passed down the same warning. This went on for generations until an incident changed the pattern of events. One day, two boys were playing cricket near the farm and lost their ball. They crawled into a hole and found themselves inside the most beautiful cave they had ever seen. The water from the roof trickled down and sounded like music, and the stalagmites and stalactites were like powerful organ pipes. They told everybody about their discovery. Soon word traveled from one end of the island to the next about this wonderful cave. People came to witness the phenomenon. Even today, Bermudians and tourists visit this natural wonder known as the Crystal Caves. And what was following Jack in the cave? People believe it was the boogeyman that only attacks disobedient children. I don't know what was following Jack. I don't know if it was all in his mind or if it really was the boogeyman. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story. It's one of my favorites from out of this book. Like I said, this is a great book to add to your collection. You can get it at Veronica, Bermuda Bookstore, and I believe the Griot if you're interested. That's all for today, and I will see you in this space tomorrow for more Reading with Miss Paynter. Bye-bye.